Good morning, everybody. I'm Michelle. Just wanted to encourage you this morning from Hebrews chapter 10. And I'm reading from the Passion Translation. And it says here in verse 23, it says, "So now wrap your heart tightly around the hope that lives within us, knowing that God always keeps his promises." Another translation says it like this: "Let us hold tightly without wavering to the hope we affirm, for God can be trusted to keep his promise." You know, when I was a young girl, one of the things I used to love doing so much was actually riding on a roller coaster. And at one point, the looping star was the big thing to get onto. And you know, the thing about that, it was the thrill of the ride. And no matter how much you kind of thought yourself into it, nothing prepared you for that rush and that sense of adrenaline every time you went fast down a hill or round the looping star and backwards around the star. And all I remember from that time was just holding on so tightly that my knuckles were actually like white, just holding so tightly onto the handlebar of my carriage, hoping that I wouldn't actually fall off. I mean, how silly. But you know, this is kind of the picture that I'm getting, especially at this time and the situations that we're living in, is that's how we need to be with God, is we need to hold on so tightly to him during this time. Hold on so tightly to his word. Hold on so tightly to the promises that he's made. Because you know what, guys, there's nothing else we have to hold on to. You know, and the promise that we have is when we take those promises that we are righteous, those promises that we are washed in his blood, those promises that he will heal us, those promises that he will protect us, those promises that we can go boldly into his throne room. You know what? Those promises are the things that he has made to us. So what we need to do every day with those promises is actually declare them, is read them in his word, because the word is what builds our faith, and then make a daily confession every day to say, Father, I thank you this morning that your word is true. And our confession and the things that we are saying about God and about our circumstances, that is holding tightly to what God is saying. You know, when we begin to speak God's word, when we begin to declare the promises like a lot of us are doing from Psalm 91, when we begin to say that no evil will come near our dwelling, when we begin to say that the Lord is my God, that is our way of holding tight to what God has promised us. And you know, the thing I love the most in the word is then he goes on and he says this: for God can be trusted to keep his promise. Now, you know what? That in itself is a promise to really hold tightly to. So let me encourage you today, don't hold tightly to what the news is saying or what the death rates are saying. You know what? Sometimes to get through this, we've got to switch the news off. Sometimes to get through this, we've got to shut out the voices of the family and the friends, and we've got to get into our closets and we've got to get into the word and we've got to say, Father, your word says that when I hold tightly to your promises, you are faithful to keep those promises. So grab hold of the promises this morning, hold tightly to them, and you know what? We will see that God will come through for us. Well, that was my thoughts when I woke up this morning, and I thought, well, let me just say it to somebody just to encourage you this morning. Hold tightly. Do not waver. In other words, don't keep looking to the left or to the right. Do not waver to the hope that we affirm in God, because God can be trusted to keep his promises. You guys have a wonderful day today, City Faith Church. Looking forward to the day we can all give each other big hugs again. Bless you.